Claude Monet.
François Thibault-Sisson, from Le Temps. The newspaper? I wrote to you, Monsieur Monet.
At least you got my name right. That's a start.
I was here on time. I've been right round the garden looking for you.
Yeah, do look a little red. Almost vermilion. Journalists. They all want to know me now. So many interviews and articles. It wasn't always like that. We saw the world afresh, but for a long time the world didn't seem to understand us.
I'm on my own here!
The impressionists, they called us. We were painters of water, of light, of colour. We were of our own time, yet beyond it.
You begin at 8 in the morning with drawing from life. Each week, our model adopts a classic pose, and with constant attention, you will start to understand the skills of the old master. I will help you when I come in twice a week to correct your attempts.
When do we paint, Monsieur Claire?
A beginner first learns drawing, and then how to arrange colours on the palette.
Came here to paint.
I've been here for weeks. I haven't even seen a paintbrush.
You'll get used to it.
Tell me, Monsieur Monet, whose classic pose is our model taking this week? Renoir.
Titian, Monsieur Claire.
It's a bit dusty in here, sir.
Studio.
My studio? My studio's out there.
Do you always paint outside?
I invented it. They thought we were mad.
Who do you mean by we?
That crowd. I met Renoir and Basile at Glaire's Academy. Friends I would never lose sight of.
My father doesn't believe that being an artist is a proper job. So the agreement is that I attend Glaire's Academy, or he cuts me off.
Well, doesn't your family realise you're going to be world famous?
We all are, Basil.
They want me to take over the family grocery by the sea.
You mean you've sacrificed being a grocer? Won't you miss it?
I miss the sea.
You'll miss the vegetables.
Now, I'd have spent my life in Le Havre as a caricaturist if it hadn't been for the sea. Makes my head spin.
And this is what makes my head spin. I don't know if I would have become an artist if God hadn't created the female breast.
It's a hobby for me. I've yet to sit my medical exam.
I'm still painting flowers on porcelain vases. I should have been a tailor like my father.
Is that me? My nose isn't half that big.
What? It's a beautiful nose.
Oh, thank you.
So you're a laundress?
Since I was 10.
Oh, such beautiful hands.
I used to go to the beach instead of school. I could never stick to the rules even then. There was something so vivid, something, once I found it, that set the course of the rest of my life.
So, your inspiration came from nature, not from other artists?
Inspiration's no good on its own. It's like sugar. To make the best of it, you have to put it with something else.
I like mine with my chocolate in the morning.
Yeah, or plums, even tomatoes. Sometimes you need a bit of a jolt.
Well, who gave you a jolt?
Different people, different times. All dead now.
Who kept you going then, when you first arrived in Paris?
Renoir and Basile. And someone else, who I didn't get to know for a while. I knew he'd work. Everything we thought of as new started with him. When I looked at Manet's work, one world ended and another began. The women in his paintings were unconventional. His great muse was Victorine Meurent.
Look at me, Victorine. Straight at me. Turn your face towards me and look at me.
You're not going to paint me looking straight out the canvas, are you?
I'm a god. There are cherubs circling my head. This is Paris in 1862. Only one of those is true.
This is Paris and it's 1862.
This is how we live now.
Is this what growing up in a house of Puritans has done to you?
Most probably.
What did you think about my picture?
I retouched it.
I asked your opinion.
My opinion was that it needed retouching.
Would you retouch a digger? No, because it'd be an insult.
You're just starting out.
Oh, and you're no master, are you?
I'm master of your time while you're in my studio.
Can I rest a moment?
No.
My back is stiff.
Look at me, Victorine. Look at my face.
You can remember what I look like for a few minutes.
I can't. I can only paint what I see.
The peaches aren't going to last, but that's peaches for you.
Suzanne was his anchor. They married around this time.
It's 3 o'clock. Has he given you any lunch?
No.
Well, then he shouldn't blame you if you eat his props. He does the same to me when I sit for him. You must be cold.
Manet used to say his battlefield was a salon, the state-run art exhibition. Unfortunately for him, the salon wanted artists who would help build the French Empire. Myths, angels and glory. History paintings with a fine finish. Art hand in hand with politics, doing its bit for Emperor Louis Napoleon. Sadly, the Salon's yearly exhibition was our only real hope of getting work seen and sold. It was presided over by the Marquis de Chenevière. His dead hand passed over all the canvases of all the artists who submitted.
Gentlemen, a Venus by Cabanel.
Louis Napoleon is considering purchasing this for his collection.
Look how it swells. Real Ambrosian purple. Beautifully finished. Very subtle shade on the nipples.
By one of our medalled artists, so, no vote to be taken.
Good God. Who produced this monstrosity? Why has he done this?
This painter is a degenerate.
It looks like he's painted it with a scrubbing brush. It has no anatomical structure.
The world looks to France as a pinnacle of civilization. This painting makes us savages.
One would think our great history of art never happened. Refused.
So many paintings were refused that year. So many artists complained that the emperor announced an exhibition of all the rejected works. When Paris heard there was a painting of a naked concubine sitting in the woods with a couple of young dandies, well, we all came to see.
Virginie sur les Alpes.
She's not nude, she's naked.
Flesh is so white.
There's no perspective.
And those suits are so dark.
It doesn't look finished.
So simple.
You can see the brushstrokes on the canvas.
Such broad areas of light. Such attention to nature.
She's staring at us. You can see what they had for lunch.
It's our world. He's painted our world.
When I looked at Déjeuner, I saw the very thing I'd been moving towards. Not ancient Rome or ancient Greece or Mount Olympia, but Paris.
Painted a naked concubine with her clothes in a heap on the floor next to her.
That's what I want to paint, Degas.
The men in the salon find it hard to admit that women undress in life, let alone in art.
Don't you think the salon officials all have mistresses?
They all have mistresses, and they probably all visit courtesans. But they don't want to see it in an art gallery.
It's certainly given me a good kicking for it.
Socrates said when he was insulted, "Why should I resent it when an ass kicks me?"
Paris is full of asses who won't let me paint what I see.
Because they don't want what you see, they want Venus.
I see Victorine.
They're not ready for you.
When will they be ready?
I'd say not for a while. You can lead an ass to water, Manet, but you cannot make it think.
With friends like Edgar Degas, Manet didn't need enemies.
Art. Art is the capacity to take pains. Monet?
I was just examining the texture of his skin.
It's not bad. But it's too much like the model. You have stocky man. You draw him stocky. He has enormous feet. You reproduce them. It's very ugly. In drawing, one must always think of the antique.
I prefer to work from nature.
Nature is a means to an end. A masterpiece borrows from 100 imperfect models.
For me, nature is an end in itself.
Nobody's interested in nature.
The man has got big feet.
Art's been around a damn sight longer than you, and it isn't going to change overnight.
Well, it certainly isn't going to here.
Because you think we should all draw a man with big feet.
And if we do, we will all draw him differently. And his feet will be different, just as we're all different, and the world is different in every moment of every day.
Style is what matters. Style, style, style.
I want reality!
Reality has no place in my studio.
I've just seen the future. And you know something? You're not in it.
No doubt you paint to have fun, Renoir.
If it wasn't fun, Monsieur Glare, I wouldn't do it.
Nothing that makes me feel. Nothing that art is for me even exists for Claire.
I'm very happy with it.
I can't stay with him.
Well, I think most of the other students are happy.
Well, the other students are just a lot of grocers' assistants.
Monet.
I can't stay there. Oh, it's like rising from the dead day after day. I say we don't go back.
Hold on, let's think about it.
If we can't paint what we were born to paint, we might as well be doctors and tailors. At least then we'd be doing something real.
I think we should go back.
Never. We will never, ever go back there.
Of course I did go back, only to complete what I was working on. But I was impatient to be out there, in the light. I wanted to be my own master. I found myself penniless, but was ready to hurl myself recklessly into the open air.
Are we nearly there yet?
Just a bit further. It's getting very dense.
You're expecting to trip over Manet Déjeuner.
Oh, rubbish, it was a studio creation. No one has ever started and completed a painting outdoors before.
Well, that's because it would take most painters 2 years to complete one. And they die of cold.
Look. There. See how the light falls through the leaves onto the forest floor?
And the leaves against the sky.
No one can tell me that there is no colour in shadow when I have stood here and seen it and painted it for myself.
Thank you.
New colours. New studio.
Look better with a couple of figures in it.
People are far too distracting.
Of course, there were hidden dangers in the forest.
Oh, we've captured the leaves very well.
Can we go home now?
He was the All England discus champion. Would you believe that? In the middle of the Fontainebleau forest.
Does that roast beef have to come with us?
So what are you doing?
The only thing an artist can do in a time of crisis.
Make sure that I look really ill. Use cobalt blue and cadmium orange for the bruise.
Oh.
Painting is a dangerous occupation, especially when you don't sell. I'd nearly lost my leg. I was starving and homeless.
Life's more fun when you have to worry about money, Monet.
That is not the same thing to say, Lenoir.
It stirs you up.
Well, then you'll be delighted to know that no one wants us to do their portraits.
How? What about that doctor friend of yours?
He can't even force his friends to have their portraits done.
You wouldn't have to. I could hold him down and you could paint him.
Basil will look after us.
He'll give you his bed.
Might give it to you.
He'll give it to you.
He might keep it for himself.
You think he's still got that bag of beans?
With any luck, he'll have finished them by now.
Please, God, let there be meat.
Make yourselves at home, gentlemen. Renoir, you can sleep here. You can have the bedroom.
What about you?
I'll take the chaise longue.
Are you sure?
Well, what are friends for?
Oh, well, it's only for a short while.
I'm delighted to have you here. Both of you.
It's like an infirmary in here.
Beans, gentlemen.
Oh, I had beans last night.
Oh, and you'll have beans tonight until that sack runs out. And then we'll have lentils. I've plenty of paint.
And beans.
And logs for the fire.
And beans.
If the first one up in the morning can start the fire, I'll make breakfast. Monet?
What happened to your limp? Oh. Now there's a hunger no amount of beans can satisfy.
Who is she?
No idea.
As far as Paris is concerned, this will be seen as more of a crime than a creation.
I don't paint niminy-piminy daubs, Degas. This painting is alive. Olympia is alive.
Was your veil of mythology?
He didn't give her one.
That, my dear, is quite apparent.
Here is a modern Olympia. Our Olympia. You won't find her in mythology or antiquity.
I know exactly where you'll find her. I could tell you what door to knock on.
What's that?
Black cat.
Beelzebub himself.
I needed a touch of black. Well, Titian's Venus has a lapdog. Mine has her cat.
A lapdog doesn't signify anything sordid.
The salon will have a field day.
Where on earth did he pick up this yellow-bellied odalisque? And he has the gall to call her Olympia. Thank God I didn't bring my wife. When art stoops this low, sense is too good for it.
A puny model laid out on a sheet. Who couldn't move her arms and legs if she wanted to. The least woman has bones and muscles and skin. Some sort of colour.
He's trying to do something else.
Something else. That isn't art.
It is art about real people and real things.
You may be the art critic, Giovanni, but as far as I am concerned, reality and art are two very different things.
Filthy, disgusting, unhappy son!
It will have to be moved.
Don't take it off.
You'll suffocate. What are you doing under there?
Protecting my head from the insults that are beating down on me like hail.
You knew this would happen.
I didn't.
You said you didn't care what people thought.
I didn't know it'd be this bad. They were attacking the painting with umbrellas.
I know.
Should roll up my canvases and put them in the ashes.
You can't do that. I won't let you.
You can't stop me.
Yes, I can.
It was a shock. The vitriol they unleashed on him. For a painting.
The people had never seen anything like it. A prostitute. Staring at them so brazenly from the canvas.
You think that gave them the right to drive him out of the country? You're an art critic.
It was shocking.
He left the country, fled to Spain.
Really? Thought he'd taken a trip to look at Velasquez and Goya.
I thought you'd come to ask me about my life and my friends. If you think you know about my life better than I do, why did you write it and let me get on with living it?
You gotta face facts, you're not gonna get it finished. It's as big as the side of a house.
What am I going to do?
What do you think?
It's not your colour.
I'm going to do a family group on a terrace. I've hired this for one of the women. Why are you on the floor?
Who is this man? Dishevelled and motionless, lying on the floor for hours without moving. He is an artist.
I'm finished.
Metaphorically rather than literally.
The salon deadline's in 4 days. You'll have nothing to enter.
I wondered if you'd come.
Well, why wouldn't I?
I thought maybe I dreamed our meeting in the street.
Well, perhaps you did. Perhaps you're dreaming this too.
I hope not. You're far too lovely to be just a figment of the artist's mind.
Is this your studio?
It's a friend's. He lets me borrow it. And his paint.
So you're not a very successful artist then?
Not yet.
I haven't done this before. Do you want me to sit somewhere?
Just as you are.
I've got my back to you.
Put your handbag where it was. I'm afraid I'm going to keep you standing there for quite some time.
I thought we might like a little plum brandy.
Thank you.
Homemade. I accept all this will become just a story. A story with its own momentum.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean...
You reach a point in your life where all those around you start to die. It happens. And as they die, they leave you the odd canvas, a keepsake. They leave their children and their stories. It'll happen to you.
Monet! Monet! It's been accepted. Woman in a green dress by the sun. Oh. Sorry. Yes!
The colour. Captivating,
Monet.
yes.
Congratulations. It's a masterpiece.
Bravo. Thank you. I don't have anything in this year.
Money, 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 money.
Manet. For the first time in my life, I'm being congratulated for a painting at the salon.
But I didn't think you had one in this year.
I haven't. It's some sort of hoax. Some idiot whose name sounds like mine. Who is this Monet who's taking advantage of my notoriety?
I very much wanted to meet Manet. I was sure we would understand each other. I saw a kindred spirit. He saw someone with a maliciously similar name. He thought I'd somehow taken something from him, and I had. But not in the way he thought. I'd taken strength from him, inspiration. Because of my name, that one letter's difference. The very last person who would ever want to upset him had made him desperately unhappy.
Why have you done nothing to halt the flow of mud that comes at me continually?
I write about your work.
This latest piece, about the Place Vendôme exhibition. This is what you write about my paintings. Monsieur Manet showed a philosopher trampling oyster shells and a watercolour of his Christ with angels.
Well, that's not bad.
It's not anything! My work has been called ugly, then vulgar, inconsistent, naive. And in the face of this, I've continued to paint and tried to make my voice heard. You know I need all the help I can get, or I may not survive this. You know that, Durante.
I have supported you in the face of outrage. I've supported you to the public and to the marquee. I have never written anything negative about your work. There's no need to take offence. Will you apologise?
Of course he wouldn't. He was frustrated. And because he wasn't as brave as he thought he was, took it out not on his enemies, but on one of his friends.
Durante, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
It's fine. I'm fine.
It wasn't the best or most polite of duels, but blood was drawn, honor was satisfied. And the story of Manet's dueling with Durante became something of a legend.
I confess the painting that held my attention longest is Woman in a Green Dress. It speaks volumes to me about energy and truth. Emile Zola.
Right, more champagne. I'm buying.
You haven't sold the painting yet?
No, but I've just sold another one for 800 francs.
Well, you will have spent that by the end of the evening. Could all be downhill from here.
Or uphill?
To hills. Up or down.
Hills.
Hills.
Manet. Introduce me, Puzzle.
He hates you.
He hates my name.
Don't make things any worse.
They can't get any worse.
He nearly killed Durante.
It could get a lot worse.
Mr. Manet, may I introduce you to a very dear friend of mine?
Claude Monet. Very much wanted to meet you, sir. The future of art owes so much to you. And the present. The present and the future.
You painted Woman in a Green Dress.
Yes, I did.
A fine painting. So fine it was mistaken for one of mine. May I join you?
Of course, please have my chair.
Finally, I had met him, and I was not disappointed. But just as everything was fitting into place, I received news which would change my life.
Camille! I will help out with whatever money I can, but
Will we be together?
it's not possible. If I stay with you, my father will cut me off. I'll get nothing.
Because that's what I'm worth.
No.
Because I'm not good enough for you.
Of course you're good enough. You're more than good enough. But we need money.
I stood there in that green dress for 4 days and you needed a painting for the salon. I was there when you needed me. Are you going to recognize this child? Because if you don't, Claude, nothing left to say to each other. Claude?
I returned to Le Havre to spend some time with my father.
I'm sorry.
What was I saying?
About your family. You were saying you returned to the coast so you could spend some time with your family. I'm sorry, I'm making you tired.
Oh, you're making me remember.
My family have been very good to me. They're in raptures at my every brushstroke.
What if she dies? What about the baby? It's due on the 8th.
My father has asked me to abandon her. He says that I should know what she's worth and what she deserves.
Oh, what does she deserve?
It's impossible without my father's support.
What if I were to buy one of your paintings? Women in the Garden. I'll pay you in installments, 50 francs a month.
It's very kind of you.
Things don't always work out the way we want them to, do they? More often than not, the odds are stacked against us. But that doesn't seem to stop us going after them. They're impossible dreams. They're impossible dreams.
By buying my painting, Basile enabled me to do the right thing.
Camille? Camille? Camille,
I've got work to do.
I went to your rooms.
I have to do the washing.
I'm sorry.
You've come back?
It was the best and the worst thing I could have done. My family cut my allowance, just as they said they would. The money from the paintings I'd sold had gone. Camille gave birth to a big and beautiful boy, Jean. We couldn't afford to stay in Paris anymore. We drifted from place to place, sometimes not knowing where we'd stay that night, completely reliant on those few francs from Basile. I spent my days painting out of doors, watching my baby become a boy. It must have looked idyllic. My dear little family, the river, the light. But not everything was as it seemed. You don't know what money is until you don't have it. You don't know what a family is until you do. Paris seemed a very long way away. Everyone was still there, struggling as ever to sell their paintings.
Morning.
Oh, good morning.
Aha! Monet! How's my godson?
He's got a bruise on his head the size of a billiard ball.
Ah, upholding the Monet tradition of trying to run before he can walk.
More coffee?
Yes. I'm not saying come and see flawless works. I'm saying come and see sincere works.
Have you hired a gallery?
I've erected a stall.
He's erected a pavilion.
Attempting something new in art will always be a struggle. I accept that. But my work should at least be shown. If the salon so often reject me, I must take the matter into my own hands.
How do people like it?
People don't like it at all. Even if you sold every single painting, you'd still make a loss. Your mother won't like it when she realizes she's not going to see her 18,000 francs again.
18,000?
You'd do the same if you could afford it.
I'm happy merely to work. In the morning I bathe, I put on my 9-franc-50 dressing gown, and I say to myself, this is the life of the worker.
Workers don't wear floral dressing gowns.
Well, it depends what sort of workers they are.
Work is the sole refuge.
Cézanne! Do you know everybody? Manet? May I introduce Monsieur Paul Cézanne, Edouard Manet?
I would shake your hand, but I haven't washed for a week.
Only a week?
No, people say that a sugar basin has no face, has no soul. Yeah, even those glasses are talking amongst themselves.
I'm afraid to say the man is as incomprehensible to me as his work.
Oh, he finds company rather hard.
Not as hard as he finds painting.
We knew what we wanted to do. Paint real life in the open air. And if we didn't know how to achieve what our instincts told us, we were sustained by each other's enthusiasm.
I heard that men and women are allowed to swim together at La Cornoyère.
I thought you were more interested in nature.
I didn't say I was going to paint them. Do they wear clothes?
You're about to find out.
Well, as long as I can wear clothes.
Oh, you have to leave them at the station. Didn't you know? They give you a locker to put them in.
What?
What do you think? I'm not dressing like that. Come on.
What do you see?
I see life, people, and their stories. What about you?
See a square of blue and an oblong of pink.
And a dozen models eager to be studied.
And the light dancing on the ripples of the water.
Life as it's being lived, right in front of our eyes, exactly as we see it.
That's what we paint.
Colours are very loud.
Do you like it?
No, I do. I think we've really done something.
You know, we can never go back from this moment.
Are you stopping?
I'm stopping.
They'll say it isn't finished.
It's complete.
That's a manly piece of painting.
Close your eyes. Open them. What do you see?
Bunch of flowers, I think.
Close your eyes. Open.
Purple flowers, the yellow flowers.
No, close them. Keep them closed. What's really there?
Balls of colour. Yellow, purple,
green.
That was La Grenouillère. I looked nature in the eyes and I saw her clearly as she was on that day in that place for the very first time.
Is this what you called impressionism?
By nature, yes, but not yet by name.
That's what I saw. We captured the world, and with it, somewhere on the canvas, amidst the colours and the layers, what Renoir would have called our destiny.
Yes, there's no need to actually play it.
I'm doing a painting of the execution of Emperor Maximilian of Mexico, with the executioners in French army uniforms.
The executioners were Mexican.
As far as I'm concerned, our great Emperor Napoleon III was responsible. He put him on the Mexican throne, and when things dragged on, he abandoned him.
Edouard, you're shouting.
Sorry.
You must be careful. These are dangerous times.
All my working life, I've been told what I should and shouldn't paint, where and what I can exhibit. How can there be art when there's no truth?
They censored him completely. Not only did they refuse to exhibit the painting, they even banned any prints being made of it. He was like a signpost for us, showing us the way.
It's just ridiculous for an intelligent person to expose himself to the administrative caprice of the salon year after year. I mean, especially when awards and medals hold absolutely no interest at all.
But what choice have we got?
We send our work to the salon because we have to, not because we want to. When there isn't anywhere else to send it. I've had one piece accepted. That's all. Ever.
You're right.
We make no money. We have no success.
We end up alone with no outlet for our work, just like Manet says.
We should have our own exhibition like Manet.
Manet's was a disaster.
Doesn't matter. You, Renoir, myself, Degas, Cézanne, Manet. Let's rent a studio where we can exhibit all the works we want. Hang them just as we like.
And who's going to pay for it? Manet's mother?
I'll speak to my family.
Really?
We're a very attractive proposition.
Are we?
We'll be a huge success.
Everything was changing. Just when it seemed we had found our way. We had no idea.
There we go, go, go. The little marionette. There we go, go, go. Turn around.
Camille and I were married. It was 1870, June 1870. We went on our honeymoon to Trouville. Then war broke out. Nothing would be the same again.
Louis Napoleon declared war on Prussia. What happened so suddenly? All my friends, everyone, dashing off in different directions.
You're an idiot. Have you even thought about this at all?
I have.
What if you get killed? Huh? Have you thought about that?
Of course I have, but most likely the war will be over in a couple of weeks.
You don't know that!
Unless we want the Kaiser to take over our land, someone's got to go and fight.
Not you.
It's in my interest to defend France. I shouldn't expect other people to do it for me.
Why do you always have to do the honourable thing? Why can't you just let somebody else do it for once?
Don't be angry with me.
With Paris under siege, Degas and Manet enlisted as gunners in the National Guard.
It's talk that the Prussians are closing in on Paris. They'll probably starve us out.
Be that or the smallpox. I don't know if I can bear it, Degas.
Sending boys into battle. Boys.
It's so deathly sad.
I got this at the butcher's.
What is it, horse?
All the horses have been eaten. It's rat.
When all this is over, we can serve it up to the cowards who left.
It wasn't that I wanted to leave my friends to it. And it wasn't just me. Plenty of people left. I wanted to look after my family. That's who I wanted to protect. Camille and Jean joined me in England, where I'd found a summer to live.
Look, Jean, this is England.
In London, I was fascinated by the ever-changing shades of grey. Too many to mix on one palette. No country could be more extraordinary for an artist. I often thought of my friends back in France. Poor Renoir was conscripted and fell very ill with dysentery. Basile was posted to Burgundy. His father went to Burgundy to collect the body. Doted on Basile. Found his son's corpse in a ditch. 29. Very first day I met Basile, he was a true friend. Gave what he had. Would have made a name for himself. And then we find our subject again. We return. As we travel, we return.
What do you return to?
Light on water, clouds and sky. For years we'd struggled for something, and just when we thought our time was coming, it seemed we had even further to go.
Monsieur and the artist Claude Monet, I would like to paint your station.
I don't think so.
You have no future.
They said we were declaring war on beauty.
We need the salon. How else do you sell your paintings?
I say we start a fire.
An exhibition of our own.
With no jury, no marquee. We paint what we want, we sell what we can.
Jean, please!
I can see it already. The colours, lights. This will be my finest painting yet.
Usually when I do that, the gentleman stares at my body.
You never know when to stop. Your talent, your gift. You must do it justice.
You think I should paint like Monet? Dash them off in the blink of an eye.
Degas,
Eyes that way. I love my family. There's love and there is work, and we have but one heart.
Claude, take her home. I'll take the children.
No one should suffer like that. Camille.
In the last episode, I wrote to you, Monsieur Monet.
At least you got my name right.
I prefer to work from nature.
I was impatient to be out there, in the light.
I think we've really done something.
You know, we can never go back from this moment.
So you're not a very successful artist, then?
Not yet.
I stood there in that green dress for 4 days and you needed a painting for the salon. Are you going to recognize this child?
Suzanne, where did you spring from? Unfortunately, the man is as incomprehensible to me as his work.
They're not ready for you, Manny.
When will they be ready?
I'd say not for a while.
He's trying to do something else.
Something else that isn't art.
Refused. If the salon self reject me, I must take the matter into my own hands.
We should have our own exhibition like Manet.
It all happened so suddenly. All my friends, everyone, dashing off in different directions.
Have you even thought about this at all?
I have.
What if you get killed?
Most likely the war will be over in a couple of weeks.
After the war, Camille and I were afraid of what we might find when we returned from London. Burnt-out homes, shattered churches.
As the train touched the outskirts of Paris, we were greeted by buildings we once knew. Now crumbling to rubble. Wall after wall. Pockmarked by rifle shots. Blasted by cannon.
50 years on, Monsieur Monet, I fear the world has not changed.
A city ravaged by war has a sad, stark beauty and a scent. I couldn't place it at first, till we passed the cemetery.
Let me get this right. The entire war, 1870, 71, you were in London?
With my wife and little boy. I'd done my military service 10 years before. Besides, an artist has greater battles to fight.
The Salon, the most important showcase for art in France. That was our battleground. But the Marquis de Chenevière, the new Minister for Arts, was a fierce enemy. His job was to strangle art.
For any great nation to recover from war, it must be strong, resolute, united.
It is the patriotic duty of every artist to serve France through art.
We have witnessed in the streets of Paris how delusions of freedom and revolution lead to violence and terror.
Liberty. Equality. Fraternity.
Work. Justice. Public order. That is what this nation needs. Artists of France know this. Reject tradition. And so long as I draw breath, you have no future.
In Paris, the government was suspicious of the smallest gathering. You could feel it on the streets.
Good to be back.
Have you ever tasted English cooking?
I must apologise for the changes. Used to be a woman on every street corner.
No, a soldier.
Still looking to pick you up, man.
Not me, Manet. You, perhaps?
No, I'm on Manet, Monet. With any luck, they'll shoot you by mistake. What replaces government? I'll tell you. Government.
Evening.
It's exactly the same in London. Disraeli, Gladstone. Different men, still politicians. The battle will never be over.
We've seen enough bloodshed.
But you saw action.
More than you.
Renoir, your only enemy was dysentery.
Dysentery and poverty. Renoir needed to get his work shown. But after the war, the Salon jury was in no mood for Renoir.
Well, well, well. How delightfully modern. Such a bold approach to an indelicate theme. And this will look absolutely magnificent on the walls of a public latrine.
Edgar Degas. Rich, charming, witty. The ballet was his muse. To the audience at the Opera House, it had such an air of refinement. But backstage, one or two patrons of the arts, maybe, but the rest, a dirty business. To pluck a young girl out of poverty and into their fatherly care. An allowance given. Liberties taken. Yes, a dirty business. In those days, Degas was a great friend to us all. That was before the rot set in.
Good afternoon.
He was such a strange fish.
That's enough for now.
What is it with you and dancers?
Not you, too. Does it occur to nobody that what I love is the sweep of the fabric, the shapes the dancers' bodies make? I don't depict dancers, I depict movement.
I know, I know.
Well, then don't tease me. Yes. What do you think? Be honest.
You go backstage a lot. Rehearsals.
Well, the performance is their art, their illusion, but backstage, the rehearsals, the reality, yawning, the tired ache in a dancer's body.
That's what I think it is.
A patron of the arts.
Selecting his little girl. There's always something in the shadows.
It's what I do. It's what we do. We paint the reality. Imagine that. A salon of realists.
A salon of realists.
The painter of women, they called Renoir.
Morning.
Without the female breast, he once said, I would never have become a painter.
Glass of wine?
The women in his paintings were always beautiful.
Sorry, I wonder if you could help me. He's pulled two by mistake. Go on. Help me celebrate. To a fine day's business.
Money! Money! We're having lunch in the park. Why don't you join us?
That's a spectacular cheese.
I just sold 3 paintings.
You're a new dealer.
Oh, always this stern tone. No, it's not a new dealer, but...
He buys my paintings too. You can't celebrate every time.
Well, why ever not? What is life for? Hurry up, Benoit! We bought a bottle of vintage cognac as well. Never mind, we'll get another one.
Of course, you should never rely on a single source of income, but if a wealthy man is investing in your talent, who would say no? But nothing was ever certain. Manet and Degas had their family money, of course. It was different for them.
Portraits. That's what people want.
And I am going to paint yours, Papa.
What's the point? A sick old man. Why? A bit small.
Small?
Small and gloomy. You don't want to please the salon? Fine. But you must at least please your buyers.
I don't have to please anyone. I'm an artist. I paint what I see. I paint the truth.
Till the money runs out.
All is well.
Oh, yes. Yes.
With the business.
It's fine. Carry on. Paint the truth.
Oh my goodness, it's enormous.
It's for the salon.
But you detest the salon.
Oh, this is going to be a masterpiece.
Of me?
Nope. I'm going to give those stuck-up swine exactly what they want.
Now, this I would without hesitation call a masterpiece. If I was stark raving mad.
If I were mad, I would agree with you. That is, if you were mad too, which obviously you're not.
The scale is epic. Subject matter almost acceptable. The mess he's made with his brushes. And whose skin is that colour? Not mine, thank God. No. Next.
Oh, come on!
I went to the salon. Not a single Degas on display. Not one.
I know, Papa.
What did they refuse? Show me.
Papa, I didn't submit. The ankle! Keep still!
You've worked that ankle enough. Leave that ankle alone. Always too much.
Papa.
You never know when to stop. Your talent, your gift. You must do it justice. It's just there.
Where? Eyes that way. Where? Where?
His eyesight wasn't good before the war. After, it got much worse. He couldn't bear the sunlight. But the sun was my muse. Every morning it rises, and every sunrise, every second is unique. That morning I leapt out of bed to capture that moment. The light changes constantly. A sunrise must be painted as it happens. It is a race against time. Each tiny gradation of light, all the shifting tones of colour. Don't tell me you can just saunter off to a studio and recreate those from memory.
To capture the moment in the moment, that's the challenge. How long did I have? 30 minutes at most, maybe only 10. Sweeping washes of paint.
Thin, fluid bands, a swift foundation. The sky, the docks, the water. Ah, so many shades of grey. Quicker, shorter brushstrokes. Boat masts and the ghost of a harbour infused with the rising light. And there, in fierce burning reds, the heart of the sun.
You haven't written a word.
Oh, no. Sorry. Did you have any idea how important this painting was to become?
I was painting, chasing that fleeting light. It was a new way of working, but... no. Simply one painting among many that I couldn't sell.
Do not get too set in your ways.
I do think about it, Papa. A good family, a loving wife. To be free of the need to be artificial. It just hasn't happened.
I meant in your painting. You work hard. Of course you do.
But do you think I should paint like Monet? Dash them off in a blink of an eye? Oh, the fleeting light. As if light cannot be recreated in a studio. Quick, quick. The sun is shining. Where's my paintbrush?
How are your eyes?
That's the fashion nowadays, to tell the time by the painting as if it were a clock. Don't talk to me about these half-wits who clutter up the countryside with their easels. If I had my way, I would arm a special police force to shoot them on sight like vermin, lurking in the bushes with their stupid white canvas shields.
And you wonder why you have no wife.
Sorry, Papa.
Degas was always different from us. Part of our movement, but outside of it. You never quite knew where you were with him.
Have you heard the news?
The Marquis's been replaced by a monkey.
No, this is bad news, I'm afraid. Your favourite dealer has overreached himself. Too many paintings, not enough buyers.
He just needs to be patient, things will pick up.
The market's dead. He stopped buying.
Completely.
One dealer, how much difference can it make?
It's not too late to submit.
No. Never. As long as we let the salon make the rules, our work will just be the smallest flame in constant danger of... I say we start a fire.
Come on, remember Basil's dream.
An exhibition of our own.
With no jury, no marquee. We paint what we want, we sell what we can.
A salon of realists. Manet?
I wish you luck, sincerely. But to attack from within, that's the challenge.
Why? Why live by their rules? What do you want next, the Legendado d'honneur?
If such honours did not exist, I would not invent them, but they do. The Legendado d'honneur, since you ask, yes, I would accept it. Good night.
Logan? A bottle of champagne, I think, gentlemen.
An exhibition of our own. There was no going back. But for Degas, the struggle was about to become much harder.
John, please!
He's having fun.
And I'm working.
Well, stop a while.
Can't stop, the light will change.
So, the veal's not going anywhere?
That's not the point. Never mind. Stay there. Stay there.
Father, I'm sorry.
The grief is hard enough. And there are the creditors. Dear Papa, he's left me rather a lot to tie up.
But he was a wealthy man.
So did I.
So, you're keeping busy.
The exhibition. We found a studio. Nadar, the photographer, he's lending it to us. And we have more artists lined up. Please, reconsider.
How many people are going to come to this? Sorry. To me, this just seems
Utterly mad! And most of them have nothing to lose. No talent, no reputation. But Degas! You'll never sell another painting. No. In a photographer's studio, how that? One passing fad pays host to another.
In the weeks before the exhibition, we drove ourselves harder than ever. We painted from our hearts, not our heads. It meant everything to us to find new ways to capture our world.
I'm taking a break.
I wish I wasn't painting you seated.
Why?
I'd prefer paintings that make me want to stroke them. When I finish a buttock, I like to give it a little pat. Now come on, I've got to get this done. Nini, this is serious.
Stupid exhibition. Whose idea was it? What? What's the matter?
Nothing. The exhibition, it was Basile's idea.
Who?
Frederick Basile, he died in the war. Oh, idiot! Stupid! He enlisted! Come on.
Did you find yourself painting with more freedom than before?
Painting? Painting? What about the finances, the letter writing, the publicity, the printing of the brochures, the content of the brochures, the setting up of a company, collective membership agreement, Rule 17, paragraph 10A. Is that what drives an artist? To be an investor in a joint stock company? What a business. Painting? Well, we did a bit.
Within that small photographer's studio on the Boulevard de Capucines was the most vibrant, most modern exhibition Paris had ever seen.
Or maybe they'll all come in the evening.
It's only the first day.
It's the opening. There should be a crowd, a queue around the corner.
This is no ordinary exhibition.
You're right. It's a disaster.
You must be patient. Word will spread.
We need reviews.
I wrote to everyone. I wrote to everyone.
All the papers?
I wrote to every newspaper, every journal, every single one.
On looking at the first rough works, and rough is the right word, yet one simply shrugs one's shoulders. On seeing the next lot, you burst out laughing. Oh, but at the last ones, then you finally get angry. And you are sorry that you did not give the franc you paid to get in to some poor beggar. Oh, dear. No, that's it. No, give your franc to a beggar. Then he can go and buy 2 of their paintings with it. Wonderful.
Every day worse than the last. Opening day, 175 visitors. Month later, final day, 54.
Art critic. Is that a profession?
It's not even finished. It's all blood out. He must have been drunk.
Claude.
There's something about the work that you don't understand.
Oh. The artist himself. Actually, I do have a question, yes. How's your eyesight?
I think you should leave now.
No. We've paid our money. We're having our entertainment.
This is an art exhibition, not a circus.
Oh.
Oh, so this wasn't painted by a clown?
Maybe I should make myself clearer. Well, I'd agree with that. You're upsetting my wife.
They said we were declaring war on beauty. And the wallpaper in its embryonic state was more finished. Our young heads were filled with beauty.
And my impression sunrise? What was it? My impression, somebody wrote, unimpressed.
From an insult came a name. Impressionism. A name. The only return on all that work.
Superb! Brilliant!
Manet!
My God! What on earth are you doing here?
Congratulations. What an exhibition. What?
What, you'd rather have been exhibiting with us than at the Salon?
You're joking. 500,000 people saw my work. But what you're doing, it's glorious.
Well, the public, it seems, would disagree.
They don't understand it now. Of course they don't. It's the future. Your husband is the Raphael of water.
The what?
Raphael.
He's a dead painter.
What was it Courbet said when he was complimented on that seascape? It's not a seascape, it's a time of day. That's what they don't understand. You don't paint a subject, you paint the effect on that subject of a time of day.
Yes, that's all very well, but have you got that 20 francs you said you'd lend me?
You've heard about the guy. His father's business. He owes a fortune.
Poor Degas.
Poor Degas. So now he has to live like the rest of us. Don't give me poor Degas, we all need money.
Alice Oshaudet. How do you do?
Claude Monet.
Claude Monet, the great artist. Yes, I know.
Hardly great.
Oh, you're great. People just haven't seen it yet.
Madame, you're very kind.
Oh, so my husband tells me. I prefer more refined work myself, but each to his own. Now, you'll be painting for us out in the garden.
Madame, while I was waiting, was that you playing the piano?
It's just a little serenade, yes.
Well, I prefer more refined work myself, but each to their own. Good day.
Oh, Simone, come back. If I was too direct, forgive me.
Madame, if my work is beyond your comprehension, what good would it do me to paint here? I would curse you and you would curse me.
I would not curse you.
Well, then I would curse enough for the both of us. Please give my regards to Monsieur Oshaudet.
Monsieur Monet, may I be honest?
Have you not been so already?
If I had a choice between a Monet and a Raphael, I would choose a Raphael.
So would the Marquis.
But when I was a child, did I appreciate Raphael? His mastery of composition, his chiaroscuro. Please give me time. Whatever you paint here, I shall learn to cherish.
Come here. I've just seen light like never before. You know the smoke from the train? It stains the air. And then the sunlight illuminates the smoke. The colour that I saw in those white clouds. I have to capture
Lord,
it.
the butcher won't give us any more credit.
After that last exhibition, I didn't think that I could go on.
We've run out of bread.
Oh, butchers, bakers, what do they matter?
Claude, we need to eat.
Survived, didn't we?
You said no to Mr. Osherty.
No. No, I'll do that work.
Thank you.
What's the matter? What is it? Sit down. Sit down.
What? What are you looking at?
Nothing.
The light on my face.
Why do you like painting in the dark?
Remove your clothes, please. Remove your corset, please.
Models weren't people to Degas. They were objects, moving shapes, animals who lived in the shadows.
Usually when I do that, the gentleman stares at my body.
But Degas took everything in, always writing notes to himself.
I thought you were a painter, not a writer.
Ideas, observations. That's why he never stopped experimenting, finding new ways of working.
You don't just paint what you see.
Of course not. Trickery and vice. That's painting. It's like committing a crime.
Each of us, in his own manner, was trying to find his way back from that dreadful exhibition.
You were bolder than most. The Gare Saint-Lazare.
Had to do it.
Renoir said you were mad.
To me, that was a good sign.
How do you do? Monsieur, I'm the artist Claude Monet. I would like to paint your station.
To paint it? I see. Well, the front of the building is the most ornate.
Monsieur, I would like to paint inside.
I don't think so. I mean, the steam gets everywhere. You won't see a thing.
I will see the steam.
Yeah?
I will paint the steam.
Right.
I would like to paint wherever I choose. Is there a problem?
Well, there is a bit, yes. This being a train station, we do tend to get rather a lot of trains and passengers.
Monsieur, for some time now I have been considering whether to paint the Gare Saint-Lazare or the Gare du Nord. I have to tell you, your station, from the way that it is run to the architecture, is infinitely superior.
Do our best.
If I am to immortalize a railway station, would you rather I went to the Gare du Nord?
10 minutes. I mean, 10 minutes at the most.
The trains were halted, platforms cleared. He even ordered the engines to be crammed with coal so as to give out more steam. For several hours, I, Station Master Monet, had the freedom of the Gare Saint-Lazare.
Bend your back more, please.
How much longer?
Please, your back.
Do you like women?
What an extraordinary question.
Well, you always make us look so ugly.
If you want to look beautiful, go and sit for Monsieur Renoir. I show women as they really are, not as some ignorant aristocrat wants them to be. The Marquis at the salon, you wouldn't know him.
I know a lot of very respectable gentlemen. You'd be surprised.
Yes, I'm sure I would.
Some of them even pay to spy through the keyhole.
I am an artist.
You paint nudes.
I do not paint nudes. I paint women without their clothes on.
Oh, they're so different.
The nude is always in a pose. A woman without her clothes is a woman in an honest moment. That's why it looks as though you're peeping through a keyhole. You're back.
Degas never married, of course, and there were strange rumours. But over the years he painted women as they'd never been seen before. Real women, doing real things. The greatest artist, the English called him. Not the greatest character, though. Money came and went, but the debt still mounted. But I desperately needed Oshide to keep buying my work.
And I got you too. Monsieur Claude!
Mademoiselle?
Monsieur Monet, is it really you?
Madame.
Nice suit.
Thank you.
Nice hat.
Thank you.
And the cravat. Sensational.
I think it's horrid.
Blanche! Don't the turkeys need feeding? Come on! Off you go, all of you. So, you're going up in the world?
I last know this was a payment from your husband.
Oh.
But this time I regret. I need cash.
Yes, of course. And how is your wife?
Much the same. But we have another exhibition, and if that goes well... What is it?
Don't neglect her.
I'm not. I'm doing this for her. But you think that I'll take the money to the nearest bar? Is your husband in the house?
No, he had to go to Paris.
Paris? He was going to pay me.
He can't pay you. We can't pay you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, he won't talk to me, but he owes a lot of money to a lot of people. I'm sorry, I'm really not good bad.
Tell your husband not to sell my paintings. They will soon be soaring in value, believe me. Blanche was right. It's horrid.
Yes, it is. It's horrid.
The critics hated the painting that I did for Oshide. But by our third Impressionist exhibition in 1877, the tide had started to turn, very slowly.
At least the reviews were better. Here. One cannot deny the terrifying realism of these faded creatures exuding vice. And here, a joyful glow touches even the shadows. The effect is like the shimmer of a rainbow. And this one, the bustle, the colour, the movement, the clamour, a pictorial symphony.
the wisdom of the art critic.
Well, at least some of them were starting to see.
Yeah, one or two. But what does an artist remember? 100 words that sing his praises, or 10 that cut him to pieces?
That's a pretty one.
The critics had other words for it.
Well, I think it's pretty.
My friends wonder why I'm not married. I would spend my whole life in mortal dread that my wife would say, "That's a pretty one," after I'd finished her work.
Did you have any idea what Degas was working on?
At that point, the usual. I had my own work.
Not the usual. I'm referring to the recent auction of the Degas estate, his private collection.
Oh, those! No one knew about those.
It would have ruined him.
No, don't look at those. Go, get out!
Don't be angry.
That is all for today. Finished.
Please, Monsieur Degas.
Now! Go!
No, those pictures would not have gone down well with his usual collectors. Prostitutes, madams, brothels. Oh yes, Degas. A strange fish indeed. Poor Alice. My patron, Ernest Ochede, was in 2 million francs of debt. Can you believe it?
Goodness me, you're all here. Hello. Hello.
I'm so sorry we're late. Camille, I'm sorry the house isn't clean. Oh, no, please, this is so kind of you. Girls, this isn't your home. They're children. And it is their home. Thank you. Thank you both so much. Oh, and this is Ernest, my husband. Camille.
Ernest. Bonnet.
Off you go.
Let me take
Thank
that.
you.
Crying.
Post.
Leave it on the side, thank you.
It's from Monsieur Manet.
Camille. From Manet.
There's a man who will go to heaven.
Come on, Camille, keep up.
I can't.
We've hardly left the house.
Come on, girls. Who can find the best picnic spot in the world?
The days, the nights of screaming. No one should suffer like that. Camille. At first I resisted, but slowly the idea took form in my mind, and as it took form,
He became an obsession. I found myself searching for the succession of colours that death was imposing on her face, the violent emotion of the colours. First and foremost, I reacted to those. And what could be more natural than to preserve the last image of a person who's about to leave you forever? The painter first, then the husband. A little air, I think.
Oh, yes. What happened to my mirror?
The removal men dropped it.
So lovely to look at.
Monsieur, my little boy, he made you this.
Au revoir. A new Minister for Arts. And he's a friend of yours. You may get your Legion d'honneur after all.
Thank you for suggesting I can only achieve it through corrupt means. I'm working on a new painting. I can see it now, the colours, the lights. This will be my finest painting yet.
You always say that.
And it's always true.
Where does the time go? When I was young, I stored up all my plans in a cupboard, locked away safely with a key. And now...
You've lost the key.
Seeing you is always a tonic. Time for me to go. Light outside shouldn't be so bad now.
We didn't know then what was happening to Manet. To live with so much pain. Degas was always a loyal friend to Manet, but he was a lonely and unhappy man. And that was beginning to show. By 1880, he'd started scheming to control the Impressionist exhibitions, and us. Too much bickering and unpleasantness for me. I went back to our old adversary, the Salon. My Lavacour painting was selected, but could anybody see it?
What is the point of having a picture in an exhibition that no one can see?
It's the salon.
My picture is almost on the ceiling. A butcher could have hung it better. Cram them in like soldiers in a cattle truck.
Oh, well, tell our friends to bring binoculars.
I'm complaining to the Minister of Finance. This is the last year that I exhibit at the Salon, and I mean it this time. Monet's dead. and Monet.
You think you'd be the first to know?
Where is it?
The Impressionist school has the honour of informing you of the grievous loss it has suffered in the person of Monsieur Claude Monet, one of its revered masters. Revered's good. The funeral for Monsieur Claude Monet will take place on May the 1st at 10 o'clock in the morning in Monsieur Cabanel's gallery. You're requested not to attend. On behalf of the head of the Impressionist school, Monsieur Degas.
Degas? What?
Degas also twisted the knife by spreading malicious gossip about myself and Alice Osherday.
How dare he?
Ah, Monsieur Monet. We thought you deserted our happy camp.
I'm an artist, Degas. What are your props? You will not make slanderous comments in the press about my private life!
Surrendered your impressionist brush. Just like Auguste Renoir. Come crawling back. What's the matter? Not as well hung as you thought?
At least I got mine up.
Perhaps you should go back to decorating pots. Hypocrite! You betrayed us all, running back to the salon like a dog.
What am I supposed to tell my family? That I'm out on the streets because I've decided to do what Degas tells me? I've got 8 children to support!
Oh, do you have any idea which ones are yours?
I love my family. I also love my work.
There is love and there is work, and we have but one heart.
Remember this, Degas. One day your cronies will leave you, and despite your talent, you will grow old alone, and you will die alone.
Degas. Made enemies of us all.
Tell me, your side.
A little later.
Of course. You must be tired.
Life is short. I have a painting to finish.
The critics call my work the cult of ugliness.
My dear Cézanne doesn't think enough of public opinion. He despises the most elementary things. Language, dress, hygiene.
I'm painting for myself, not to amuse other people.
Perhaps you're just not good enough.
Perhaps I'm too good. Perhaps I'm a genius.
Would very much like to behave like a husband. As you never ceased reminding me you were married to somebody else.
I think I'm coming to the end of Impressionism.
Oh, I'll be the only one left. Cézanne, you have shown us the future.
In the last episode,
I wrote to you, Monsieur Monet.
At least you got my name right.
Alice Osherday.
Claude Monet.
A great artist, yes, I know.
Hardly great.
Oh, you're great. People just haven't seen it yet.
John, please!
I say we start a fire.
We paint what we want, we sell what we can.
An exhibition of our own.
Oh, dear.
This is no ordinary exhibition.
You're right. It's a disaster.
Go, get up!
Please, Monsieur Degas,
Now! Do you think I should paint like Monet? Dash them off in a blink of an eye.
You will not make slanderous comments in the press about my private life!
Surrendered your impressionist brush.
The colours, lights. This will be my finest painting yet.
Gentlemen. To say that in the past we have had our disagreements would be an understatement. But I am enough of a realist, and I hope you are too, to know that if we argue tonight, it would create a very bad impression. We are here tonight to salute a recipient of the Légion d'honneur, yes. But more important than that, our tower of strength, our friend, Edouard Manet.
Thank you, Degas, for those kind words. Naturally, I can't agree with all of them. It has always been my ambition not to repeat today what I did yesterday, but to respond constantly to every fresh vision, every new voice. As for the salon, why ruin the evening? Yes, Degas, I now have the Légion d'honneur. It would have made my future once, but now it's too late to make up for 20 years of failure.
No, not failure.
Never. The one thing you're not is a failure.
What pleases me more, far more, is to see you here tonight. My friends. My dear, dear friends.
Our group was about to go its separate ways. Whether we liked it or not, it wasn't going to be the same again.
To the future.
Future.
So, did Manet know what was wrong?
His misspent youth. One brothel too many. The disease crept up on him over the years.
Manet was there from the beginning. He never described himself as an impressionist, but he was one of us. So much a part of what we did.
An impressionist masterpiece.
He loved it at the salon.
Edouard Manet.
So, tide was beginning to turn.
The tide was still against us. As hard as I swam, the current held me back. I was living in the country with Alice Oshide, the wife of my old patron Ernest, with their 6 children and my 2 boys.
Papa, we brought you tea. Claude?
I owe over 2,000 francs in household expenses. If I stop to eat now, we all starve tomorrow.
I made you tap to town.
Now that's bribery. I'm going to write to your husband, Alice. I'm going to give him an ultimatum.
Lord, no.
Either he should pay something towards your keep, or let you go. Tongues are so loose they will wag themselves out.
Well, the streets of Paris will be littered with tongues.
Maybe I should paint something people will want to buy.
I wanted to capture the impression of a moment. I was still at the beginning of my journey. I say beginning. A single life is not long enough to know a single moment. Cézanne was a pioneer, searching for his own truth. His one-man revolution would take Impressionism somewhere very different. His work was so savage and unfinished looking. People were outraged. The critics saved the worst of their venom for him.
Paul Cézanne is a genuine impressionist. Each one of his paintings more stupefying than the last.
No, I will not have that.
Stupefying's pretty tame.
They compared one of my nudes to a corpse.
Well, that was fair enough.
How dare they call me an impressionist?
Cézanne.
You're worse than Degas. How can you say your style owes nothing to what we've tried?
Are you blind? You are an inspiration to me, and you are Renoir, but I am doing something completely different.
We all are.
No! Not like me!
Not the best company on a good day. With Cézanne, good days were rare.
I heard he didn't even like to be touched.
He found the world a hard place to be in. So would you, if you were consistently rejected by a world that was so blind it couldn't even see your work. To try and to fail. So continually. And to be rejected in the end by those you loved the most. He loved Zola very much.
He and Émile Zola had grown up together in Aix-en-Provence. The inseparables, they'd called them. Of course, we know how famous Zola became. One of France's most popular writers.
You're not hunting for your supper anymore, Zola?
No, we seldom caught anything.
Quite the dirty bourgeois.
I can't help being a success.
Well, you were going to be the painter.
And you wrote me verses. The inseparables. What are you doing, X? Do you still swim?
Against the tide, mainly. When the people of X are stuck for a laugh, they ask to see my paintings.
Do you let them? How are your parents?
Still the most disgusting, stinking people in the world.
Do they know your secret?
The paternal authority spent his life trying to get his accent accepted by the snobs of X.
Only to have his son and heir father a child with a peasant.
He'd cut off my allowance if he found out. And then we'd be completely reliant on you. Well, I am trying to clarify the relationship between colour and form, Father.
Do you think that is a valid occupation for a man approaching 40? At 40, I'd built up a successful business. Your mother and I had 2 children. Any sales?
No.
You're not earning a penny.
Not yet.
Well, perhaps you're just not good enough.
Perhaps I'm too good. Perhaps I'm a genius.
One may die with genius, Paul. One eats with money.
Please let me write it off today.
So what?
That I love you. And that you love me.
It won't change anything.
How can he think that he has any hold over you when he doesn't pay a penny towards any of your keep? He's choosing to drink his life away, and if you let him, he will drink ours away too. Don't we have any choices?
Well, I married him. I made my choice. I took him as my husband.
Well, he isn't behaving like a husband.
I won't divorce him, Claude. You know that. I'm a Catholic.
So where does that leave us? Wedged between Oshide and the Church of Rome for the rest of our lives?
If I thought things were bad, they were always worse for Cézanne, with his secret mistress and their secret child.
I've got so many pawn tickets in my purse, there's no room for any money.
That's just as well.
I'd love a lemonade.
Paul?
I'd help if you sold a painting.
Paul?
Sit still. Your father's house looks like it's going to tip over. If it was really like that, all the furniture would slide down one hand.
That's the composition.
You should tell your father if you think his house is going to fall down. One gust of wind and your inheritance will be a pile of rubble. What you paint, Paul, it's not what other people see.
It's more than that, Hortense. My eye is thinking, too.
Well, tell it to stop!
I want honesty. Honesty is more important than what you see.
So send honesty to the butchers!
Paul!
Manny? I've been very well.
No. I need to get myself in better shape. Any news? Quite out of touch here.
It's been raining again.
All this wind and rain. It doesn't make the world look so attractive, does it? I've begun a few outdoor studies. I'm afraid I might not be able to finish them.
Are you in pain?
No, no pain. No, I'm feeling much better. Reassure my friends, won't you?
The syphilis had advanced, and his leg had been removed below the knee. Never spoke about the operation to anyone. I saw it in his eyes, those unfinished paintings he so wanted to return to. And it wasn't just the leg. His work was being taken away from him, bit by bit. So much goes unsaid.
When will you be back?
Depends on how much I paint.
What, by next Sunday?
I'll write when I get there.
It's my birthday.
I know.
Well, if you're not back for my birthday, I might go and spend it with my husband in Paris.
Why do you want to spend your birthday with Oshide?
I don't want to spend my birthday alone.
Please, don't punish me for not behaving like a husband. I would very much like to behave like a husband. But as you never cease reminding me you are married to somebody else.
£60. I really shake your hand for this, Zola. Oh, and please thank your wife for the bag of rags she sent me. They're always useful in the studio. You really are a good, solid plank.
Yes, well, I'll take that in the manner it was meant. Why do you stay, Alex?
What else seems to mean anything?
Come to Paris.
Make me feel sick.
How can you give art a new beginning if you won't move on from where you started?
You just want me to paint society.
I want you to paint the world. At least then you might sell.
I'm painting for myself, not to amuse other people.
We both used to live in our own shadows, Suzanne. Isn't it about time you stepped out of yours?
Do you remember when I first spoke to you at school?
Well, you were the only one that would.
Speaking to you was banned because you were a hopeless dreamer. If I am a hopeless dreamer now, then let me work in silence. Don't throw me to the ruffians.
Cézanne invited Renoir and myself to visit him in Provence. Oh, with its vivid colours and intense light, it was another world.
It's like a fairy tale, Andy, don't you think? Honestly, you won't know what to paint first.
Oh, I imagine I will.
So bright, so much blue. You'll need plenty of cerulean and ultramarine.
Seldom use ultramarine.
You can use some of mine. It's quite good quality.
It's about the impression that it makes on me, Renoir, not the impression that it makes on you. Suzanne says that he's been working hard.
Sounds good.
To avoid the admiration of imbeciles.
He sounds happy.
Oh, I don't think happy is on his palate. So, is this just linseed oil?
Yes, it is.
You planted soup for this lot?
An eminently sensible idea, Suzanne.
Oh, let's hope no one dies for the next few months.
You could put Paul to bed.
If I move him, he'll wake up.
So, are you going to get involved in any more impressionist exhibitions?
Is it impressionist anymore?
Well, it's hard to know what we are these days. Degas hijacked one. Then my dealer had a go.
That was a shambles.
I know, any more exhibitions like that, we'll end up with the public bored of us and the press still against us.
Even if I had the money to frame them, I wouldn't send them any of my pictures.
Well, I'm sure Hortense would agree.
Hortense is only interested in lemonade.
Do you have any lemonade?
No, no, they don't, no.
I think I'm coming to the end of Impressionism.
Oh, Impressionism. I want something more solid and durable. My own way.
Oh, I'll be the only one left.
Fed out of being out in the cold.
Do you want a blanket?
Oh, I think Renoir was talking figuratively.
Oh, well, I'll put another log on the stove anyway.
So much daylight. Unbearable. My eyes hurt terribly.
Must have been in agony for years.
When I last saw him, I took him some peonies. And he straight away started to paint them.
To go. Just when you start to find success.
We're all of us successful. Manny was a great success. From the first day I met him. As are you.
So this was 1883?
(1883).
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. (1883) was also the first year we came here.
Didn't know how much part of our lives it would become.
From the train, I had seen this rambling farmhouse. And we were lucky. The rent was low enough that even we could afford it.
Will you allow yourself to enjoy it? Instead of travelling away all the time.
I have to find new subjects.
We've got plenty of subjects here.
I've told them to put your things in the main bedroom upstairs.
And where will you sleep?
I'll sleep downstairs.
Cone, the cylinder, the sphere. An orange.
An apple?
A head. The world seems very complicated. The trick is to make it simple.
Why does it have to go there?
Because of the biscuit. To make a picture is to compose. I'm going to astonish Paris with an apple.
This arrived yesterday. Do you know who it's for?
It's addressed for Madame Suzanne. Must be for Mother.
No, it's not from Mother. It's from a father to his daughter. So let's piece together what we know. Here is a letter from a Monsieur Fiquet. Monsieur Fiquet is not a man of letters.
No.
Monsieur Fiquet is a peasant, and his daughter is a peasant girl.
Peasant girl.
Monsieur Fiquet finishes, "Please remember me to the boy."
Yes. Paul. He's 11.
Perhaps you'd be so good as to see that this gets to its intended reader.
Thank you.
And I shall go away and consider your intended allowance.
Do you feel you had much common ground with Cézanne as an impressionist?
We both chased nature. He wanted to construct it and make it endure. For me, it was the moment. And just that, chasing the moment that will never come again.
Alice and I had our home. I knew she wanted me to stay there with her, but I couldn't. I was travelling, always travelling, trying to get closer to my subject. I was a hunter, not a painter, learning to know my quarry. Some days the sea was so blue, others so green. I couldn't express its intensity, its habits, its passions. lying in wait for a passing cloud, pouncing on a perfect sky. It was a daily battle, in which I invariably came off the worst. Painting took me away for weeks at a time. Alice and I were divided by so much. But without her, nothing mattered. Not even painting.
The critics call my work the cult of ugliness. Painted by a madman with the shakes, made by loading pistols with paint and firing at the canvas.
Well, you're an artist's artist.
Mammy called me a bricklayer who paints with a trowel. I am rolling a rock uphill, Zola. And either I keep on rolling it forever, or I let it roll back on me and crush me.
Go on.
But the thing that keeps me going is the hope, the belief that one day I will pick up that boulder with my hands and hurl it to the stars.
Well, what if posterity isn't the impartial judge we think it is?
Oh, don't say that.
Suppose the artist's paradise turns it out to be as non-existent as the Catholics, and that future generations persist on liking pretty daubing better than real painting.
Well, they must want my paintings. If they're painted well.
That's like saying they'll be happy to be butchered as long as the cuts are neat. I've started a new novel. It's the 14th in my series about the Rougon-Macquart family. It's about passion and creation. I'll send you a copy. Where are you going?
To paint.
Cézanne kept moving, not knowing if he would ever reach his destination. Zola did what he did best, writing about what he knew, and the people he knew.
Father, I'm late, I know. I'm sorry, my train, there was an error in the timetable. Oh.
Could you find some employment for your fork? How is the boy? How is he?
He's very well. He spends most of his time outdoors.
I should like to meet him. Would you mind?
Not at all. Say good morning, Paul. Say good morning to your grandfather.
Cézanne found inspiration in the shape of La Montagne Sainte-Victoire, just outside Aix. Like him, it thirsted for sun, yet fell back to earth. He said he could occupy himself for months there without moving from the same place, just by turning slightly to the left or the right. He painted the mountain 60 times from different positions on different days.
I told him that there's no future, absolutely no future in the impressionist artists. But frankly, he still keeps going. I've actually drawn a likeness of Cézanne that is too mild. My dear Cézanne doesn't think enough of public opinion. He despises the most elementary things, language, dress, hygiene.
It's here. It's arrived.
But none of this would matter if only he had genius.
Why don't you open it?
To Cézanne and his lack of genius.
Here. He suffered all the torments of the man condemned to roll a rock uphill forever or to be crushed when it rolls back on him. That's me.
Could be anyone.
No, I said that. He has written about me. There's an artist and his mistress, who is also his model, and their son.
What's wrong with that?
He calls the artist a splendid failure.
Oh, Paul, it's just a book.
How can a man talk sensibly about the art of painting? He doesn't know anything about it. How dare he say that an artist is finished because of one bad picture?
I have just received your novel, which you were kind enough to send me. I thank you for it, and ask that you let me press your hand in memory of old and better times. Ever yours, your friend from the past.
Cézanne and Zola were never to meet again. What Zola did in his novel, which is called The Masterpiece, was to say that Impressionism was a failure.
Did you think it was based on Cézanne?
We were all in there, bits and pieces of our lives. The worst thing was, it broke Cézanne's heart.
He had married Hortense by that time.
He married her not for love, so that Paul wouldn't have to suffer the stigma of having unmarried parents. 6 months after the wedding, his father died, leaving Cézanne and, indeed, Hortense a very generous income.
His worries about money, like his feelings for Hortense and his friendship with Zola, were things of the past.
You'll have to hurry, or the carriage will leave with all your luggage.
You will come and stay.
Well, you know I don't like Paris.
We've got our own bathroom. Not that that would interest you. I think that's always been the difference between us.
Maybe. Paul. Now be good. And if you're not, I've forgiven you already. Go on.
I wrote to my old Impressionist friends. We had to lay Zola's masterpiece to rest. We could not allow our names and Manet's memory to be equated with failure forever.
Right, there's something that I need to ask you both.
He wants us to buy 10 of his paintings for 100 francs.
I need 20,000.
Francs?
And I'm not going to give you anything in return.
All that fresh air's gone to his head.
I'm thinking of purchasing Manet's Olympia for the state, and I need 20,000 francs.
What's in it for you?
Sorry, how much?
20,000.
Right.
So Monet is thinking this is my chance to go down in history as the true leader of the Impressionist movement.
I'm thinking about Madame Manet.
I'll think about Madame Manet when and if she asks me to.
Well, Impressionism will get a boost also.
Also, Monet will get a boost.
No.
Yes.
Come on, start me off. What do you say?
No.
Renoir?
No.
In the end, Renoir and Degas gave their contributions, and I raised enough money to buy Olympia. In 1907, it was hung in the home of French art, the Louvre. For once, I was closer to home. I'd found some haystacks and started with 2 canvases, one for Grey and one for Sunny.
Alice, the light's changing.
As the light changed on the haystack, the whole subject was transformed. And the light kept changing through the day, through different days.
How can anyone say that a landscape even exists when it changes so constantly?
You'll have to be quick.
And I only worked on each canvas in its light, seizing just the right moment at a stroke.
The light's fading.
Or that moment will be lost.
You look like a conductor.
Like a conductor holding a baton. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
15 pictures of the same thing, and they all sold in 3 days. Something had changed. The world, it seemed, was beginning to see things my way. A haystack. A haystack was as much of a subject as a vase of flowers. And if the finish wasn't smooth, no comment. It was the beginning of what became known as my series paintings. I painted poplar trees along the bank of the river. I went to Rouen to paint the cathedral. I couldn't sleep for nightmares that the cathedral was coming down on top of me. It was blue or pink or yellow. I must have done 30 paintings there.
I thought I'd be in Rouen forever. I think Alice thought so too. She'd stayed on in Giverny. Our situation really couldn't go on. Our being together and not really being together. And I'll tell you something else that happened. Oshida died.
Alice, I've decided. I'm not going to work away anymore. I know I should wait. And I'm sorry. At last, there are no obstacles in our path. And I don't mean to call Ernest an obstacle. I don't want to distress you. Alice, are you listening to me?
Yes, yes.
All my life I have travelled, looking for something. I thought that I would find it in seeing different things, but it's here. It's here. It's in seeing the same things every day.
I shall grow sick of you.
Will you?
We were married in July 1892, here in Giverny. I'd made enough money to buy the house. Alice loved it here. Oh, I miss her.
Early in 1910, she felt very weak. Leukemia. In the spring, there was a remission, and you cling to the hope. My dear companion died on the 19th of May. Cling to your palate, they told me. Hardly picked up a brush for 3 years.
Still, Cézanne struggled on alone, the very last of us to be recognized by the world.
Good morning.
Oh, it's a mess. It's too many loose strands and no centre. It's escaping. Errant hand.
Good day.
I have to tell you that I'm extremely busy. And will be for the rest of my life.
They're not very easy to find.
Perhaps I don't want to be found.
Every artist wants to be found. What are you working on?
It's a painting.
Please don't shout at me. Amboise voila. I'm an art dealer. I want to present an exhibition of your work.
Can't you think of better ways to waste your money?
People should see your work, or you'll die forgotten. I'll organize it all.
I noticed your rather spectacular collection of Japanese prints.
Oh, I'm a great admirer.
Did they inspire you for this garden?
Oh, I was inspired. There's no point in being inspired if you don't get any help. The local people and artists are just a comedian who wore hats, someone to use. You know, they tried to chop down the poplars, and they charged me a toll to cross the fields to paint, dismantle the haystacks. And when I wanted to make my pond...
What was here before?
A marsh.
Alice!
I had been searching the world for what lay at my feet.
Alice!
I stopped hunting nature and invited her in. I diverted the stream and planted every known variety of water lily in the pond, and they flourished. I set up my easel in front of this body of water that contains in it all the elements of a universe, changing constantly under our very eyes. It's become an obsession. After all his reservations, Cézanne did agree to Vollard holding an exhibition of his work.
How many more have you got?
152.
152? I don't know if I can manage them all.
What?
I mean, at the gallery? Well, you must. I'll think of something. It'll be splendid. Thank you. Thank you. Ah, wonderful. Wonderful. There's that. Thank you so much. That's not quite 152. Well, the big ones are in the other room.
Rarely do you come across a true painter. One who knows how to balance tones.
Do you have any idea how impossible it is for me to make collectors, even friends of the Impressionists, understand how precious Cézanne's work is? So still, so alive.
And I want Lestat.
Ah, the wild majesty of Lestat.
The still life is mine.
What? I saw it first.
I have my money out first.
Still life from Monsieur Degas. Painting of irreproachable perfection. Must be pleased with what we sold at the exhibition.
What do you say? I prepared it myself, so... so you won't fall so long as you stay still.
I'll be still as a statue.
As an apple.
As an apple?
Please. Do not speak. Clumsy fool! I told you to stay still! Well, that's enough for today. No. You wait. The exhibition. Did Zola come?
No.
All right. The idiot. If only he had. Now that I'm bowling Paris over with my masterpieces. Forgive me.
If only Cézanne had genius, Zola. Many critics thought that Zola's book was about Cézanne, but time will pass and people will understand that Zola's book was just a story.
People.
Cézanne!
I so wanted Cézanne to join us at Giverny that day. I was worried he'd be too shy to come.
To meet you. Celebrated sculptor Auguste Rodin is here.
I wanted him to know he did have admirers and true friends.
No, that's my hand. It's my hand. Right. Thank you. Thanks for shaking my hand. Shall we?
Oh, yes. Renoir is celebrating the birth of his second son.
It's
seems that family life is finally suiting him after all these years.
They've called him Jean. Yes, lovely.
Many of us here have been following you for years, Cézanne. And we know why the younger artists look to you for guidance. Those who were so quick to condemn you will find themselves astonished. A new era of art is opening.
Well, this is the promised land, and they certainly won't let me in.
Cézanne, you have shown us the future.
Bravo.
What Cézanne achieved will be appreciated. Not too late for Picasso and Matisse and the others he influenced, but too late for Cézanne. He laid the foundations for a new century, for a new generation of modern painters. He died, must be 15 years ago, wishing, like all of us, that he had more time.
We're not revolutionaries anymore. We're a tradition.
Can you believe it? A room of our own at the Great Exhibition.
If I could have 20 more years to work, I would create things that would endure.
At least we're still alive, eh?
To the greatest living painter. To myself.
To myself.
To Basile.
To Manet.
Manet.
Degas struggled on into his 80s. He found new passions, sculpture and photography. His work has endured and has become even more popular. Renoir was famous all around the world and fated as a society portraitist, much to his delight. He died last year, December 1919. Took part of my life with him.
It's nearly finished.
You seem to be getting closer and closer to your subject.
Most likely what I'm attempting is beyond my powers. Most likely I shall die without knowing.
Monet has outlived them all. Now he is a hero, one of the most successful painters who ever lived, the father of Impressionism. We have his paintings and his garden, the fleeting moments, an impression of life.